Mr. Warrens,
Mr. Wilson.
how are you doing this fine, fine day?
I am extremely over the very frigid weather. That's how I'm doing right now. And I don't even want you to say a word because I know it was probably, 60, 63, 75 down there, 6, 7 as the kids say, I don't know. It was probably wonderful in your neck of the woods. I think my watch said it was the real feel of 0 for most of the day. So that's what I was dealing with.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, look, I totally get it, and that's one of the reasons why my wife and I decided that we wanted to go somewhere else a little bit more tropical, if you will. But no, hey, it's good seeing you, my friend. I have made my way back from the great northeast of the United States and made my way here to Central America. And a little update, Joe, on my SKB golf bag case that I had. Obviously, last time that you and I were together, I broke the lock on my bag.
Yes, you
I
did. Lock was broke.
am happy to report I had gone to the SKB website. They had locks available. It was shipped to me overnight. I had my lock reinstalled, and the bag made it here safely without any incident.
So
Again,
you have clubs on the ground
yes,
at the house right now.
I do, absolutely. In fact, my wife and I have plans in Tuesday. We're heading to the great Pacific coast, and I'm going to be hitting some golf balls, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I intend to get some video of it, and I'll share it with you. And if you want to pop it up here for everybody to laugh at, feel free. I have not a
Oh,
problem with that
that'll
at
be,
all.
we need social media content. That'll be all the social media content there, Robert. Okay. I actually got out
God,
myself yesterday, even though it was about 0 degrees yesterday. I got out myself. We have a new indoor facility here in the area, and one of our good friends was nice enough to invite me out to play
oh,
18-hole
fantastic!
simulator. So I was able to get out and play Torrey Pines, which,
Ooh,
isn't too far
hey,
away. I
it's
don't
not
think
that
from,
far away. It's not, and it is a public facility. It's not
it's
that
there.
far. It's
It's there.
there. I have not a problem. So we can discuss that. In fact, you and I haven't even really spoken about any of the golf courses that, clubs that we wanted to play, courses we want to play.
We have a place we're staying.
Well, that's the whole thing. And again, maybe Joe, I realize we're on episode, what is this is 3 now, episode 3 that we're
Episode 3.
doing.
Yes.
And maybe, for those that are new to the channel, new to the podcast, Joe, why don't you let them know what it is that we're doing, our podcast, the whole shebang, if you will.
So this is Golf with Wilson and Warrens, and we are really just two gentlemen. I don't even know if I would call us gentlemen at this point. We're
Yeah.
two guys that are taking a golf trip this summer. That's really what it boiled down to. We've taken golf trips here in the past. We've traveled. We've taken the game of golf seriously. We've taken the game of golf not so seriously at different points in our lives. And, we really enjoy the game. And we wanted to take an opportunity to take a trip that we were actually going to enjoy, that was going to recharge us. We were going to get the most out of it and enjoy it and come out better on the back half of it than we did going in on, before the trip. We said in the first episode, we talked about it, how many times we've taken a trip where you felt like you were rushing the entire time. Or getting drug around and you feel more tired and more stressed out coming home than you
Yep.
did when you actually left for the trip. And that's kind of the thing. We want to use golf and use this avenue to really just kind of rebuild ourselves and get ourselves back to where we normally are and relaxed and back to equilibrium and enjoying the game and everything again, really, right?
Oh, absolutely. And again, this trip is a trip of a lifetime. It's not just a 3 or 4 day trip. We're talking about a 30-day trip to the southwestern part of the U.S. We're going to be heading to the La Quinta area of California. We're going to be staying at the home of PGA West. We'll be actually taking up residency, to be quite honest, there for a month.
I mean, pretty much, right? Yeah.
That's really what it is. And, we wanted to document this whole entire process and share it with a couple of our friends. And for some unbeknownst reason, we decided to put this out there for everyone else to laugh at when we're doing it. But
Yes, exactly.
anyway, with that being said, Joe, we have officially locked in our PGA West trip for June. We are 5 months out. What do you have to say about that?
I'm excited.
You should be. You should be
I,
excited about
I,
that.
that's At this point, it's still that I'm pinching myself, right? Like we're 5 months out and it's still that we're going on this trip, but
Sure.
unfortunately for me, I still have this white stuff on the ground. So
Well, hey, look, I feel you. I've been there myself. You know, you got to do what you got to do. You're fortunate
mhm,
you have a swing lab at home.
yes,
I'm very fortunate, you know, that you have that opportunity to be able to keep loose and limber and to do what you want and take that because keep in mind, we're talking about the stadium course here, Joe. We will be playing the stadium course. In fact, I think we're going to call that kind of the upper
I think that's the
echelon
top, right? Like
of
that's the
this
one.
30-day
That's the one.
trip that we're
Yes,
taking. Absolutely. But with that, Joe, I think maybe what we ought to do is talk about the history of PGA West for a while. And you know, again, we can't, you know, turn our back to the fact that the American Express was just paid
for sure.
this past weekend as well. So hopefully we can talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, right? We're going to be staying in the Quinta area. We're going to be staying. We have as you said, a site that we're going to be at that's going to be located within that community there, and very very local to PGA West and the courses in that area. So we're going to be there. We're going to have access. We're going to be on site. So what we're looking at is really from there as home base.
Mhm.
What is our bucket list? What are we going to look at? What are we going to play? And as we've said this entire time, yes, PGA West is that gem. It's that course that we have to get on and we have to play. Like there's shots I've seen hit that you've seen hit that we've all seen hit in tournaments that we want to be able to hit, right? We've all been there. We want to drop a ball there. We want to see if we can hit that shot. So that's available and we're going to be doing that. But I think I'm also excited, just as you are, for some of the local courses and some of the things outside the area as well. But to be able to sit down and watch the pros, hit some of those shots and
Oh
play
yeah.
those holes, that we're going to be able to play is just outrageous. You and I have had that opportunity before with TBC Potomac to be able to do that in the past. Yeah, to be able to do this on the West Coast is just going to be it's unreal.
It is, you know, Joe, we have had the opportunity to play some really nice golf courses over the
Yes.
years, and
Mhm.
I intend to keep that, you know, going until I can't swing a golf club anymore, and I'm hopeful that you'll be along for those trips the entire time, but with that, you know, it's yes, the stadium course is truly gonna be the upper echelon for that, but do you have any idea how the whole, you know, conception of PGA West and La Quinta had processed? Do you have any idea about that history at all, Joe?
I knew nothing until you and I started having conversations about this, and you started playing some tournaments out in that area.
Mhm.
So a lot of the background that I had from PJ West was from you, and the development of it. Now, the course itself and the stadium course, obviously, I know that's a die course, and I know
Yeah.
that's one of his gems that everyone thinks is well. There's mixed opinions on it, but a lot of people do
Oh, yeah.
consider that one of the top courses out there for sure. At least in
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. So let me take you back in time to the days of wide collared shirts, the BGs, and bell bottom pants. I'm going to take you back to the 1970s, Joe. I'm taking it back to the 1970s. So what I need you to think about is we're talking about a total different La Quinta, California than what's there currently. We're talking about a time and a place where La Quinta was extremely small. There was no PGA West. There was no Citrus Club. There was no Silver Rock. There was nothing. It was just
It's literally just a desert. It's a
it
desert.
it was literally barren desert, and there were 2 professional golfers back in the 1970s, a gentleman by the name of Ernie Vossler and another guy by the name of Joe Wassler Jr. That's right, Vossler and Wassler. So
No
say
relation.
that one no relation at all, but obviously 2 different names. But anyway, say that one 3 times fast. But the way this whole thing started is that they were playing a golf tournament somewhere in the SoCal area, and they were friends, and, of course, their wives were friendly as well, and what happened is their wives found this little resort called the La Quinta Inn, and they stayed there. They thought it was wonderful. So Ernie Vossler and Joe Wassler had the opportunity to go there, and of course, well, they're staying with their wives, so they had no other choice but to stay there. So they realized when they were there how nice the area truly was. They realized that when they were on the other side of the Santa Rosa Mountains, that the Santa Rosa Mountains created a wind block, truly a wind block. The
I am
weather
a
is
science teacher. I mean, we can go into the whole rain shadow thing, but, we'll save it for another day. Continue.
absolutely, but the Santa Rosa Mountains are there to as a wind block, weather is fantastic, it's just wonderful. So these guys woke up one morning and they had been talking about it, and they said, "This would be a great place for a golf course." So, a couple years later rolls by, and they decided that they were gonna go into business together as a development corporation. They ended up buying the La Quinta Inn, and they brought in a couple of architects. One of those was Pete Dye, who did the mountain course
Mhm.
there at La Quinta Inn and whatnot. So, but these guys had the vision that they could see this entire area being a resort area, an area with golf courses galore. So they went out and they bought acres upon acres upon acres of property,
And that's
and
the key to this, right? The land was
it
available,
is
right? We talk about this all the time, and people talk about golf course development, things like that all the time, right? But a lot of
oh,
this comes down
absolutely.
you gotta have the land there in the first place to be able to do things like this.
Absolutely. So they went ahead and did it. And by the way, when I started doing the research into this, I was able to find, a couple of the local newspapers. They actually called these guys lunatics for wanting to do such a big project out there in the middle of nowhere and of course grow grass in the deserts. But anyway, fast forward, these guys broke ground. They were starting to build. The very first architect that they wanted to have go out there and build a golf course was none other than Pete Dye. And Pete Dye went out there and when you start looking into the history of this, Pete looked at it and he thought, and in fact, after he built the golf course, this is prior to his death, he has said that that was one of the worst pieces of property that he ever had to build a golf course on. And he said that up until the time of his passing. But so anyway, he was the very first guy that they wanted to do. And Joe, I think you know the story about what had required Pete Dye to do.
Yeah, so the story that I've heard when I got into this and started doing my research into it was that they basically walked to Pete Dye and said, "We want you to build the hardest golf course in the world."
Oh,
Period. I mean,
absolutely.
that was the stipulation, right? Like they wanted this course
Yes,
to be where the PGA was going to come and play championships and really use this
absolutely.
to really be that course. Think of the US Open, right? They wanted to be that type of course where guys are winning at maybe one over, one under, two under.
Well, in fact, what they weren't actually thinking of the U.S. Open. They were actually talking about Ryder Cup. They had the Ryder Cup in their mind. They wanted to do it many years later. But anyway, that we'll get into that. But, well, actually, I'll tell you the story about that Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
That Ryder Cup was actually lost. Actually, ended up the Ryder Cup was to have been played. It was '91, I believe. When was the Ryder Cup at Kiowa Island? That was in the '80s, wasn't it? Anyway, the reason why they were to have had the Ryder Cup out there, but the reason why they moved it to Kiowa Island was for TV time in order to be able to do things properly. So, but anyway, I'll circle back around to that. But anyway, these guys got Pete Dye to go ahead and build this golf course, and he did a fantastic, outstanding job, and to the point that it was a monstrous time. And the golf course was built in the early '80s. It opened in 1986. So
Mhm.
we went from the bell bottom stage, and then we're going to big hair and hairspray and lots of
And baby
neon
me's,
colors.
baby me's.
Absolutely. And so anyway, Vossler and Wassler, since they were on the tour, they already had inroads with the PGA Tour. They already had inroads with the PGA of America. And so they had actually they had asked, these guys, "Hey, look, we're building what could be, the western home of golf because we have all of this acreage. We're building all of these golf courses. And by the way that they wanted to do it, they wanted to have a buffet of golf courses out there from the hardest golf course in the world to something that would be more resort and member friendly, if you know what I'm trying to get at. And right now today at PGA West, along with La Quinta, they have, I think, a total of 9 golf courses that they have. So
Yeah,
it
you
goes to
have that.
show you how much it was. Absolutely. But Joe, I think there were some highlights that had happened in 1986, specifically with regards to the TPC stadium course.
Is this the well, that was gonna be the Lee Trevino hole-in-one, right? So this is the Skins game,
This is the
I
Skins
believe?
game. Now, I know that this is before your time. I get that. I realize that. And
Yes.
I gotta tell you, I was a kid. I was either 13 or 14,
Pre-'87,
1986.
I'm not here, big guy.
Dude, I was there and I watched it live on television, and when you go back and watch the old footage from the Skins game in 1986, you talk about you could not have a better avenue for things, and I want you to realize this, that they actually the Skins game was televised live on NBC across the country, and
Yes.
it was hyped. This is the toughest golf course in the world. It was a skins game between Lee Trevino, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, and Tom Watson. And you're talking about four of the greatest and biggest names of the day were playing there. And I'm
And it's
telling
just like
you,
you've seen this today, right? We've seen a
absolutely.
resurgence of this in the money game or the match game or
Oh,
whatever you want to
absolutely.
call it, right? And trying to get some of these top players out and playing in some of those events, right? Because it does draw in different viewership, right? It gives somebody that isn't a necessarily a golfer that is watching 24/7 religiously tournament, every tournament, gives them opportunity to watch it, understand a little bit, and have some fun and excitement hole to hole instead
Mhm.
of having to watch it for 4 days, maybe
Oh,
getting that excitement at the end, right?
yeah.
So, it is a great way to give people, and open that avenue up to see some of those golfers, right? So that in of itself is gonna draw attention, and then, yes, you add in the aspect that they're throwing this course in that's never really been played or televised before that no one's seen,
Yes.
and that takes a little bit out, right? Now you have 4 golfers that have barely touched or seen this golf course. Now it's kind of an even playing field, so who really is the best of the best?
Well, that's the whole thing, and that was the reason why I wanted to watch it. Not only because of the fact it had been advertised for weeks upon weeks, and reading Golf Digest as a kid, you knew that the stadium course was being built. It was going to be different. And by the way, the reason why they call it the stadium course, Joe, is because they literally built it kind of stadium-esque with the rolling hills, and I'm talking not just on the golf course itself. I'm talking like, in the
He had
non-playable areas, if you will.
Yes, he had it set up to where it was TV friendly. That was taken
Yes.
into account. They knew that golf broadcasting was gonna be the future, right? They
Oh,
had
yeah.
been broadcasting golf, but they were able to do it in new and different ways now. And yeah, building those stadium courses, building those holes like that, and really being able to get those crowds around it.
Yes.
Again, we see it today in stadium design and course
Yeah.
design and tournament design, whatever you want to call it, with setups. You have to take that into account. We used to do that. I remember walking around with some of the pros that I've worked with that you've
Mhm.
have the fortune to meet at some of the courses we've been at. I remember walking around Royal and us talking about how cool it'd be to put a TV tower here, or how cool it'd be behind this hole to have a set of bleachers, sitting and watching this green. But it's interesting, and that's something neat exercise for people. If you're out at your local course, your local municipal course, your local course, think about that. If you were to bus in, a bunch of people to watch a tournament, think about the space that some of these courses have in between holes, and
Yeah.
some of the acreage they do take up compared to your local course. Because think of all the people who are fitting in some of that space versus where you have on your course. It's a lot
Yeah,
tighter a lot of times.
absolutely. But no, during this was you couldn't have made this better for TV. Finally Lee Trevino hit the hole in one, and that moment was broadcast on every TV network at the news later that evening, and it was broadcast
Mhm.
around for days, I'm telling you. And Vossler and Wassler could not have had their eyes bigger than beach balls, realizing that this was a made for TV moment, that they were able to promote PGA West. And by the way, during my research, I did find out that all of the homes that were around in 1986 around that golf course, not a single one of them were sold until after the Skins game. Then they started to sell out because everybody wanted to come. Everybody wanted to come and have an opportunity to play and to get their shot at it. But anyway, you move forward. So Vassar and Wassler had that going for them. They were able to get PGA Tour to come and set up shop in an office there. They got the PGA of America to set up an office there as well, and they truly became the Western home of golf. Like I said, they have a buffet of golf courses, from at the time the hardest golf course in the world to very member friendly. courses
Mhm.
there as well. So, but anyway, with that
Executive
being,
courses, we have courses under the lights. There's,
oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
everything you could want and need is out there. Yeah,
Absolutely. But anyways, so obviously the Amex was played last week. We sort of kind of we got to talk about it because we're going to be there.
for sure.
Let's talk about it. The Amex is relatively new. It's been there since 2020. But prior to that, it was the Career Builder Challenge, Humana
Well,
golf
wait, wait,
course.
wait, 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 wait. It's got a lot of names, but
It does. It
it's the
does.
Bob Hope.
It's always gonna be the Bob Hope. It's always, when you think about golf in the desert, you can't help but to think about Bob Hope and the Celebrity Pro-Am. That really truly is, I don't wanna say modern era because, how can I say the modern era? Because they were using woods, Joe. I mean, literally, they were using hickory clubs. So I don't know that I can necessarily call it modern era, but I will tell you that it was TV friendly because it had celebrities that were on television and playing golf, and some of them did really well, others not so much, and it just is what it is.
Well, it's shocking and it's fun to see the celebrities play, right? Because, like you said, some of them are very, very, very talented golfers. Some of them not so much, but
Oh,
it's always
absolutely.
interesting to see the different fields and the different swings, right? There's
Mhm.
no true one swing, right swing out there, so it's interesting to see the different swings and see the different amateurs and how they get around the course compared to the pros for sure.
Oh, absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why I've always kinda tuned into the Amex and just to watch. I mean, think about it. When you talk about amateur golf, how can we not talk about the young kid, the 18-year-old who lit the golf courses on fire, and I think he came out what? He was tied for 8th or something like that? My god,
I
I
don't
think
know.
I got it here somewhere, Joe. I got it here somewhere. Oh, no, 18th, tied for 18th. And I'm talking about Blades Brown, the young kid
Yes.
who set the place on fire. And I'm talking, wow.
Had PJ experience before. He has
Oh,
played
yeah.
a few rounds, which is, and you and I both know that's huge, right? Having
Oh,
that experience and playing on those courses, with that
yes.
pressure, be able to have that is insane. So for him to be able to have that experience is, a jump in or lead into how well he played, obviously at the American Express. So,
Oh, absolutely. No, I
but
think it was considered a home game for him, to be
yeah,
quite honest, if I
yeah.
remember.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, these young kids, man, like for the last, what, 5, 10 years, we've been seeing these young kids just coming right out of high school, right out of college that just absolutely bomb the ball and they're just ready to play.
It's just a different type of golf that's being played now than when I was a kid, Joe, my first set of clubs, I was literally playing woods. I mean, when I was metal woods was not a thing until I think I was senior in high school. It was well after I graduated, I know that, but I don't think any of the guys on my golf team had anything that was remotely a metal wood or anything futuristic like, graphite shafts, you didn't have that option. It was do you want regular flex, stiff flex, or you want old man
But
flex? Those were really the options we had.
but again, you're talking about an 18-year-old kid,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Like you were an
yeah.
18-year-old kid at that time. And now we're talking about, again, an
Th
18-year-old kid who's in a PGA tournament, absolutely just,
It just set the thing
yeah,
on fire. It was unreal. It
yeah.
was it was wonderful seeing it. He played the golf course fantastically. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, he made a couple of mistakes, but, we all do, and it's not to say look, Scotty Scheffler won the tournament, it's not to say he didn't make a mistake or 2. I mean,
Right.
let's talk about 17. I mean, right off the
Okay.
bat.
Yeah.
You you gotta talk about 17, Joe.
Oh my, go ahead. Give us the
So
history of
well
17.
well, I don't have a history of 17 except
You have
for
your
the
shirt.
well, actually, I do have a little bit of history about 17. 17 is called, Alcatraz. Alcatraz because, well, Alcatraz Island just in San Francisco. In case you don't know what Alcatraz Island is, it was an island that was a prison at one point in time, and it was, water surrounded it. But anyway, hence the reason why, it's called Alcatraz. So anyway, Pete Dye was building a golf course at the time, and he came to 17, and he was just trying to figure out I gotta do something. It's a par 3. I don't know what to do exactly with it. And original design, I think, called for, if I as I recall from the little bit of history that I read about it, the original design actually called it to be surrounded by desert, if I remember.
Okay.
And it was actually his wife, Alice Dye, who was actually one of his partners, and he relied on heavily to bounce some ideas off of. And it was her that made the suggestion, "Hey, why don't you do the same thing it did at Sawgrass? Why don't you just go ahead and surround it with water?" And he surrounded it with water, and he made it a little bit more difficult because he put rocks around the island, and it is not forgiving in any way, shape, or form. And I have seen a few fair share of balls going in there. Not for myself, by the way. I had survived Alcatraz, and I'm wearing my "I survived Alcatraz" T-shirt in memory of that. But anyway, with that being said, that's 17 in the history that I know about
You can
17.
never go wrong with Island Green,
No,
right?
no, you can't. You have to.
And to have it that late in the round when you're talking the 17th hole and it's that late in the round, your everyday round, you and I going out and playing, okay, yeah, cool. We're gonna go play. Oh, it's an Island Green, it's on 17. But when
Mhm.
you're talking about competition golf and now you're laying that pressure in there and everything else, it's giving you one more variable. It's giving you one more thing to look at stepping up to that hole. And you already know Pete tries to force you into a certain spot anyway.
Absolutely does.
And then to throw that look in there of just having this ocean of water and this tiny little thing out there, and you've got to get that number right, or there's your round. It's gone. There's your
Oh,
tournament. It's gone.
oh, absolutely. Now, Scotty Scheffler had a little bit of a lead going into 17, but he kind of went for it. He kind of went for it, and either he didn't rotate enough, the club head didn't come around enough. You know, number of different things could have happened in the swing, but I'm sure he was heading for the flagstick, Joe, and firing away from it. And who knows? It might have been nerves. It might have been adrenaline. It could have been a number of things. You and I have both been in positions, out there before, and it does get to you. And keep in mind, thousands of people there as spectators watching, and that brings a whole different aspect of things.
It's something when you're walking into the bunker and you hear the guy behind you go, "Yeah, he's not getting out of that." It's just, and you can't yell at the fan, so you just got to eat it. So
Okay, so a little backstory on that. That was a jab to me. I appreciate that. That did
you're
bring
up.
back a good memory. I had anyway, Joe had the opportunity to caddy for me in one of the pro-ams that I played at. And we were on 16 at TPC Potomac. And you talk about adrenaline. Adrenaline was in me. I was in the middle of the fairway. In fact, I think I was the only one in the group that was in the middle of the fairway, as I
You were,
recall.
you were.
And I can't remember who was the pro that we were playing with. It was
He's not on the tour anymore. That was our
that was
Jamie Lovemark.
Lovemark. That's right. It was
Yes.
Lovemark. Lovemark was left, if I remember correctly. He was blocked because of a tree, but he went over the tree anyway. But anyway, he looked at me. He's like, "Hey, it's your hole." I'm like, "Okay." So yeah, put the pressure on me. I appreciate that. So adrenaline, and I overshot, and I landed on the green, but it did roll into the bunker in the back. So we're walking up, and I had my club. I got my 60-degree out because I didn't have much green to work with at all. So I had the 60, and the next thing I know is I hear this guy in the stand. He goes, "He ain't getting out of that." And I'm like, "Crap! Why did I have to hear that?" And of course, I got out. I
You
bladed
did.
the
You did.
ball.
You got out.
I got out. I
Mhm.
bladed it right across the green. I was done. I was
I
just
do believe
done.
you were in the front side bunker at that point. But yes,
Yes,
yes, you
I
did get
was
out of
done
the
at
green.
that point. Yeah, I did get it out. But anyway, that
But
was
that's
hilarious.
the kind of thing, right? Like that's the kind of moment that you can
Yes.
have a
Oh,
whole life,
absolutely.
um, like 17, when you have that island green, when you have those different things there that can happen. I mean, how many times have we seen a ball ricochet off the rocks?
Oh,
And is it stay and hold, or is it going to bounce through, or where's it going to go? Where's it going to
yes.
kick to? Or man, that shot looks really good. That's going to be a number. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my, because one little thing changes, or you get a gust from the gods and the breeze comes
Yes.
through. Like you said, there's so many different little things that could happen.
Yeah.
that could play into a shot on that hole being really, really, really good or not really good at all.
Hey, look, we talked about the Skins game with Lee Trevino. Let's face it, that was, a hole in one. It happens. It does happen.
Mhm.
There was a great shot and it went in. It
Yeah.
was perfectly done. As far as
And that
Scottish
showed that the course wasn't unplayable, right? Like, that gave some adrenaline to this course of being saying, "Yeah,
Yes.
this is a really hard course, and guys are gonna get beat up, and there's gonna be
Yeah.
some holes where guys are gonna look silly, but it's not unfair, it is playable,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it can be a really good product."
It is a good product. Going back to that '86 Skins game, it was neat seeing those guys have a little bit of a struggle with it. Again, you got to realize the equipment has changed drastically from the 1980s to here. We're halfway.
Yeah.
We're past the halfway point in 2020. We're at 2026 right now. So the equipment has changed drastically. The golf ball has changed drastically, and I'm sure Jack Nicklaus would have a couple of comments to say about the golf ball, that he used at the stadium course versus the ball that Scotty Scheffler is using at the stadium course,
Oh, absolutely. Well, even the agronomy, right? You and I have had this conversation as well about agronomy. I mean,
Yes.
and just the technology in the turf game that has changed over the years, and the ability to grow grass and keep it to certain tolerances,
Mhm.
and use different types of grasses in different circumstances. I mean, that science alone has changed the game and changed a lot as well. Look how much smoother and more consistent the surfaces are that we get to play on
Oh my
versus what they got to play on as well. So, I mean, you take that into account. So, yeah, every aspect of the game just goes to, the guys now being more successful and being able to play these courses and being up a little bit easier for sure.
Oh, absolutely, and you gotta realize those guys back in the '80s when they first came and played, and by the way, the PGA Tour did play a golf tournament after the '86 Skins game. It was in 1987, and of course, talking about the history of that, we're going to get into that aspect of it, but, with those guys and players in the 1980s, they didn't get a chance to have the opportunity that these kids today have as to watching how the golf course has been played, being able to go back and see replays of previous tournaments and how, okay, if this is where I want to go, this is where I'm going to be. And this is the avenue. It's like looking at a map. This is where I want to go, and they're doing, and by the way, they are looking at maps, by the way, as they're walking down the fairway, but because they
Mhm.
give matter of fact, Joe, I have my
Let me pull out my yardage book right here.
I got my yardage book right here, and I will tell you that these guys are literally these guys are looking at everything from,
Oh, yeah.
drop points and you know, wh lineman points and everything. So they're using these yardage books, I'm telling you, and they, in '86 Arnold Palmer didn't have a yardage book. I mean, he probably did because,
They had
you
notes and they had their own
yeah,
note
they
things.
had
Yeah.
notes and all that good stuff, but it's not like they had years and years and years of guys' experience sitting in front
Mhm.
of them, paving the way,
I mean,
prior
how
to
many
the
times
golf tournament.
we have a good friend of ours, John, that we've played golf with,
Yeah.
and John will sit there and talk about putts on Augusta all day or shots on Augusta, right? Like, he loves that course,
Oh, yeah.
like a lot of people do. And when you see courses like you said on TV and you're able to see them year in year out, you ought to start to know some of those lines and some of those misses. And oh, we've seen this putt before. We know that guys have the tendency of missing this to the low side or leaving this short or not reading this aspect. So yeah, that those guys obviously back in those early times, those late '80s, early '90s, they didn't have that data yet to rely
No.
on,
No,
and they
not
didn't
at
see it.
all. No, not at all, and as you know, Joe, just from playing in a couple of being involved in a couple of the programs that we've been involved in, having the conversations with the pros as well as the caddies, sometimes the conversations with the caddies were, just as interesting as the conversation with the player themselves, and, we've had conversations with caddies walking down the fairway about, "Hey, what do how do you prepare yourself? How do you prepare your player for going into a tournament?" And, you and I have both had the opportunity to where we have heard multiple caddies. I'm talking caddies that are traveling with their player, and most of them have libraries. I mean, libraries sort of
Mhm.
similar to this.
Yeah,
I mean,
for
these
sure.
are all yardage books, and by the way, some of these will be coming with us because we're going to want them. I'm going to tell you, we're going to want them. But you just keep them because you just never know, and if
Well,
you're
let's
like
talk to people a little bit. Let's talk to them a little bit about Pro-Am, right? Because
sure.
we're going out on Wednesday. We had the opportunity, obviously, at TPC to play. You played. I got to schlep the staff bag around because somebody was a jerk and just wanted to buy a staff bag for no reason with his name on it for some reason. I don't know. But anyway,
You're lucky I didn't put the
yes,
bricks in
I'm
the
still
bottom of
bitter
the
about
bag.
that. I'm still bitter. Yeah, I'm still bitter. But anyway, so these pro-ams, well, first off, the PGA, obviously, I don't know if people know, a lot of people don't realize it, is each of these tournaments are run like a nonprofit.
Oh, yeah.
So each tournament is run like a nonprofit. There are a lot of donations being made to a lot of
Yes.
different really good things run around those local communities. Some of that does
Yes.
get pushed out to more national or international things as well, but a lot of that money does stay locally as well. A lot of tournaments have boards that oversee them
Yep.
and things like that as well. The Pro-Am is an opportunity. It's one of their big fundraisers.
Mhm.
For those types of things. So you have the opportunity to play. We go down. They have tea gifts. It's a great day. They really take care of the amateurs and try to make it that PGA Tour experience. That's what you're
Yeah.
paying for, and that's what you're
Mhm.
getting. It's a wonderful time. I mean, we've been feet away from Tiger. We've
Mhm.
had conversations with, oh my gosh, who haven't we had? We had conversations with Kuchar. We've had
Yeah.
conversations with Lovemark. We've had conversations with Joel and Gino. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, any of the guys. I mean, a lot of times those guys have no problem if you approach them the right way, stop and have a conversation.
No, they're all relatively nice, having had the opportunity to be in the locker room with those guys, I'll tell you, they're laughing as much as that we are, having a blast, and, I'm there's one particular golfer, I'm not gonna mention names in any way, shape, or form, but there was one particular golfer, he I would where my locker is and where my locker was in the locker room, I had a pretty good view of, the comings and goings in and out of the locker room, and during the tournament week, they put a beverage center, if you will, in the men's locker room. And inside that beverage center would be some Michelobes and lights
Swing a little,
and
swing a little,
you know, just swing lube
swing.
and I will assure you that there one particular golfer he went in there, cracked one open, doused it down, threw the can away, went in, got another one. He saw that I was looking at him and he looked at me and said, he just took it and just walked off. I'm like, wow, type
Uh,
of thing. Because that guy reminded me of some guys that you and I have played with
I
before.
mean, but hey, again, you and I know these guys are getting in on a Monday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
A lot of these tournaments have obligations on Monday where they're playing in a pro-am on Monday, or they're having some sort of charity event or something like that. Then Tuesday they're playing practice rounds. Wednesday they're playing a pro-am with practice rounds.
Mhm.
And doing their engagements and doing their press. I mean, there's not much time to unwind and have self care, really, when you think about it, right? As much as these guys are going, you look at the times they're arriving at the course, to get loosened up, and
Oh, yeah.
a lot of these guys are doing their workouts now to get themselves activated and get the
Mhm.
muscles ready. I mean, it's their job, it is.
Oh,
But yeah,
absolutely. No,
they need a minute to have a beverage and relax and just go enjoy themselves as well, for sure.
oh my God,
They're
they deserve.
people too.
Well, the people too, they deserve it, in terms of things. And one of the things that was interesting to me as we're talking about the pro-am and the experience, what was shocking to me that I didn't realize happened, asked around, if you will,
Mhm.
when we were done, you had gone off on your way and I gone in and just wanted to change clothes, hop in and get a shower and feel, it was a long 4.5 to 5 hours out there with hot dog and hamburger along with us. But anyway, those 2 guys, God,
It was
anyway.
not for a half or 5 hours. I will let you guys
Oh,
know that.
oh, it was I wish it were 4.5. Oh, it
Pro-ams
was a
are,
long day. Long, long, long day, long
yes.
day. It was a brutal long day. But anyway, I got into the locker room and when I got in there, I was shocked to see all of the masseuse tables laying around and all the guys, I don't want to say all the guys, but most of the guys were all the tables were filled with someone and just getting massages and limbered up post round, the massage guns and all of that. I mean, I was shocked to see all of that because I never expected it at all. I
And
never even
it's
thought
a
of it.
range. And it's a range, right? Like, you have some players that obviously afford that and travel with that and use that, and
Mhm.
then you have your other guys that are just, that are your everyday
Flying by
guy
the
that aren't. Yeah, they're just hoping to be on tour and get to the next weekend, or just trying to get from one place to the other,
Yeah,
and just play good.
and we've had the opportunity to talk with some of those guys as well
Mhm.
on the practice range and the short game facilities as well, and those guys are just excited about trying to make a living at it as Tiger is, you know?
Yeah,
You know, with Tiger, you know, I'm sure he came in via private jet, from Florida, you know, Jupiter, Florida to up there to the capital of the US, and, you know, I'm sure he was staying at the St. Regis Hotel or something along those lines, and, you know, then you got the other guy who's trying to make just enough cash to be able to afford gas to make it to the next tournament. And yeah, there runs the gamut, and it's anywhere in between. I mean, you got John Daly, who's on the senior tour, and he's traveling around in an RV, and as I
right.
understand, he did that when he was on tour too. And by the way, don't think the tour guys don't have RVs and they don't go traveling from tournament to tournament in an RV, because I will tell you that as someone who has watched multiple tournaments get set up and taken down at their home course, these guys, they're traveling it, and they're some of them are utilizing RVs, and living like literally on the golf course during tournament week. You know, they're doing their calisthenics right beside the RV and all that stuff. I mean, it's interesting to watch a
Well,
professional tournament.
The PGA I mean, they have a
Yeah,
gym available for the guy.
yeah.
They have a whole, they have a whole trailer that has a gym in it. They have the food available at the course. I mean, obviously we were there for
Mhm.
food afterwards. They have a food afterwards for the round for the players and the amateurs, and obviously they do that for the players throughout the week as well.
Yeah.
And the food's phenomenal by the staff at the courses, or they
Mhm.
have things catered in for them. They have the workout facilities obviously right there for the guys to be able to go in and use with the massages and everything else. So when the PGA travels, they're traveling with a lot of that stuff already for the players all ready to go. So that
Oh
a lot of that's taken care of for sure. Think about the equipment companies that are traveling and what they're traveling with, to support these guys with TaylorMade
my
and
God, the
Callaway tour buses and everything else that are coming along. I mean, and those trailers, we've all seen videos and things like that of the equipment trailers. And
if I remember,
hey,
I think you and I had a chance to go inside the Titleist. Was it the Titleist?
no, you and
TaylorMade truck.
I,
TaylorMade
time
truck?
out, time out. I have a career that I have to watch, so we can't talk about trespassing on the TaylorMade or the Titleist.
We
No,
walked into
you walked onto the Titleist trailer and attempted to get a strap for
for
your
your benefit.
staff tour bag that I was schlepping around that day, to which they politely said, "Sir, can you please get off our trailer?"
It was something along those lines. No, they actually, they were very nice. They like, "Dude, I wish I could, I can't," you know, type of thing, and honestly, I don't even have anything like that on the truck, you know, type of thing. He's like, "Look, I'm here for clubs, you know, I'm here to help these guys with clubs
Oh, yeah,
and
if you
grinding
needed
stuff down."
yeah, I was gonna say, if we needed your wedges or irons bent, I
Oh,
mean,
that
we
would
could
have
have
been
get that
done.
sure.
Easily
You'll
could
taking
have been
that
done.
for us. Absolutely. Yeah, they would hook you up with that for sure.
God. But anyway, Joe, that was always nice. But what I want to do, Joe, is I want to introduce to you a new segment. I
Yeah,
want to
I mean, if we're gonna do this thing, we gotta try to have some fun, right?
I want to bring a segment, and I'm going to call this segment. What am I calling this segment? Oh my God, Joe, I forgot. It is send it or
Send it.
lay up. Send it or lay up. So the rules to this, Joe, are very simple. I am going to provide you with a scenario. This may be a scenario that has been played at the American Express. It may not be a scenario that is played at the American Express. However, I'm going to give you a scenario on the golf course. It will be your job, my friend, pardon me, and be your job, my friend, to answer simply with one of two answers: send it or lay up. It'll be one of those, you know, kind of like, am I going to send it straight to the flag, or am I going to bail out and lay up? So think about that, and I will allow you 1 to 2 sentences to back up the reason why you're saying that if you want to. And then I will let you know if you made the right choice or not, because believe it or not, Joe, I do have some video clips, and I don't know how well we are with editing things. But if we're well enough with editing things, for those of you who may be watching us on the YouTube, hopefully you'll see some video clips come in. But if you don't,
And
hey,
if not,
if
these are
not,
shots
hey,
of
these are
These are
shots that
probably
have
shots that have
happened.
been played. Right. These are
These are
shots that have been played. You can go out there and find them. Right.
you can find them. You'll know where we're going with that. So anyway, Joe, let's start with the very first segment of send it or layup. Now let me
I
find my
will say before we start this, I will have to say I do have the tendency to go for it. I mean,
well.
we all have.
Here's in case those who are watching and or listening on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Amazon Tunes, they may not realize that you, Joe, are the how can I put it? More go for the gusto. You're the guy who's going to go for the money shot every time. I think.
I
I think
I'm
you're
gonna get my
more
money's worth.
you are more apt to say that you are a I'm not going to call you a bomber, but you're more of a modern era player as opposed to me, where I am more methodical in my thinking. I'm more technical, and I'm more, how can I put it, conservative in my golf play.
I may have made the comment on the simulator yesterday. I'm just gonna hit this as far as I can, and I'm just gonna wedge it to every hole. It's fine.
So that is
Fine.
the difference between you and me, my friend. So anyway, here we are with the very first playing of Send It or Layup.
Yes, sir. I'm ready. Here we go.
Okay, question number one. It is the final round. You are on hole number 17 at the stadium course. You have the lead, my friend. Are you going to send it, firing it straight to the pin? Because on Sunday it is going to be there tucked to the right. Or are you going to lay up and play it safe and go for the middle of the green?
I'm gonna say send it. That would be me. But the caveat to this is gonna be it depends on the number, right? If I'm approaching this hole, I'm sitting up and I have the lead. It's gonna depend on what that number is. It's what I'm gonna be comfortable with. Is bailing out to the left or bailing out to the middle of the green, is that the same number as it is going for the flag? So if I do miss a little left, hey, it's going to end up safe anyway. I can go with the flag. I'm going to miss left anyway. I'm cool there. So I think it's going to depend on the number. But for me, most of the time, I'm going to send it. You're playing well, right? Your swing's there. Why am I going to do something different than what I've done already? Obviously, we know that anytime a bad swing can come out of nowhere, right? The swing goblins come up and grab you and they get you, and it happens. But when you're playing well and you're confident, we've all been there, and the swing feels good, that iron in your hand, if I'm just hitting the number, I'm going to send it. I'm going to step up and hit the number.
1 to 2 sentences. I'm going to say that there
I'm
were an
sorry.
awful lot
That
of
was about
comments in
20.
that sentence.
Yeah.
There was a lot of comments in the sentence. So,
That might have been a run on.
Joe, you have made a strong start because that was the correct answer. Let's go to the tape. For those of you who are on the YouTube, go to the tape. We're going to play the Scotty Scheffler 117. And of
I don't know
course,
if I can get that to work. Let's see.
and of course, you know what happens with that. He did send it. He sent it. Unfortunately, it ended up wet in the drink. So question number 2, Joe, you're short-sighted in a deep bunker, and I'm going to put you in the deep bunker on the San Andreas, and that's number 16.
Can you tell everyone about this bunker? Because this bunker has history.
This bunker is insane. Andreas Fault is a wonderful little hole. It has, I'm going to call it, the most ridiculous bunker that I have ever had the unfortunate pleasure of getting into one time in my life. And Joseph, I have no intent of ever going back into that thing. I am going to play right-hand side of the fairway all the way down from the tee box all the way down to the green. It is going to go on the right-hand side of the fairway all the way down. I am not even going to look at the bunker on the left.
So that nice draw you were hitting last time you were up here, you're not at that.
We're not going to do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're not there yet. Okay.
We're not there yet. We're not even going to talk about that at this point, but it's literally 18 to 20 feet high from the time that you're down into the bunker.
Yeah,
and
it's insane.
It's crazy. I will tell you that I think it was a 56 or a 52 degree wedge that I needed to take. I took a full entire swing, and I will tell you, I felt as if I needed to club up. I'm going to tell you, I really felt that I needed to club up, but I did get it out. but it's crazy. But anyway, should do short-sighted. You're in this fault there. You're on the left-hand side of 16, your green side. Are you, my friend, going to go ahead and try to power that thing 20 feet in the air? And by the way, you have to realize the yardage and distance from where you're at. You got to get it 20 feet up, and you still have to get to
And I have to carry it.
and you
Yes.
still have to get to the flag. So my question, Joe, are you going to send it to the flag? Or are you going to bail out and go backwards and get yourself an absolute possibility of coming up with a bogey?
We took a trip, you and I, with Tyler.
Yes.
You know how well my sand, so I will absolutely be sending it.
Well, you must be talking about
I
pine
can't
needles.
guarantee I can't guarantee I won't be in the bunker on the other side of the hole.
Well, the
But
fun
I
thing
will
is,
be out of that bunker.
hey, you're going to have to do it. Unfortunately, Joe, I'm going to have to tell you, you picked the wrong answer, and the reason being is you're not going to want to do that. Again, for those of you on YouTube, and if our editing skills are great, you can go to the tape and see what I'm talking about, just simply because of that. And Joe, you're going to want to. But I want to go backwards. I'm telling you, go backwards.
I will be hitting the shot.
We're both going to go down and actually hit the shot because
I
I
will be
think
hitting the shot.
I think all of our friends and those who are tagging along for the journey need to see what is going to happen. And honestly, Joe, what you and I need to do is actually have a couple of bets throughout the month, a couple of scenarios
Oh
and
my gosh, for
situations,
sure.
and we can show the difference between if you send it or if you lay up. We can do that. So, but anyway, I'm going to tell you, you chose the wrong answer. I'm going to tell you, you're going to want to go backwards and again, go to the tape to show you, because I can prove to you that would have been the better way.
There have been a
Question.
few big numbers on that hole.
There have been a lot of big numbers on that hole, and it can get away from you very quickly. And again, my conservative approach and technician approach to this, go backwards and go ahead and chip on. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm telling you, a score is a 5 is a 5. I don't care if you're down in the bottom or if you're coming up from the top. A 5 is a 5. But
A
anyway,
5 is not a 10.
that is absolutely correct. Question number 3, Joseph.
Mhm.
There's a safe play, and then there's the confident play. Do you send it for the flag, or you just send it?
Well, I think we need more of the scenario here. Safe play versus common play. What hole are we looking at here?
So let's take a Scotty Scheffler. Let's see what Scotty Scheffler did, because he had gone from 17. He dunked it in the water, if you remember.
Yes.
He
Yes,
went
yeah.
to 18. He went to 18.
Okay.
18, you've got to go over water with the tee shot. You have water that goes left all the way down the fairway, and in fact kind of cuts in a little bit and gives you a little bit of that, that second shot. You may or may not want to go for it. But anyway, what Scotty did, is on 18, he played it safe. People are going to say he pushed it. People are going to say he didn't play it correctly. People are going to say he didn't try to even attempt to go in the fairway. But I'm going to tell you, after having dunked it in the 17, he had a 4-shot lead. That was erased a little bit. And so he needed to protect the lead. And I'm going to tell you, that's really where I'm at. So that the question is, Joseph, you're going up to 18 after you dunked it in the water. You know you got to go across the water, and I'm telling you, having played that hole multiple times myself, I'm going to tell you, Pete Dye is a diabolical son of a gun, and I am telling you, it is a scary-looking tee shot sitting on there, standing on that tee box, realizing it's a peninsula that goes out into the lake, type of thing. And I'm telling you, you better make sure you know where your spots are out there, and you better pick them right, because if not, you're going to get wet.
This comes back to, final hole tournament line, right? And you and I both know that a good, solid, low handicap player does have a bunt tee shot, right?
Yeah.
You have your normal, I'm stepping up to the tee and I'm hitting a shot. You've got your, okay, I want to step on this and maybe put a little on this. And then you've got your little, okay, I'm just going to bunt this out there. I just needed to carry 240, 245, out in the middle of the fairway and
Yeah.
roll 20, 30 yards and I'll be happy. Right. Or whatever that looks like. It's just that little shot that I'm just trying to hood over, get it out in the middle of the fairway. I'm going to come up and I'm probably not going to hit the stock drive. I'm probably going to hit that little bunt shot out there just to keep it in the fairway. If I have those stroke leads coming in, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to hit that little bunt driver, just put it in play. Yeah. Did he play it safe and bail it out to the right hand side? Was it a mishit? We don't know. We didn't make the golf swing. We're not going to know unless we, have the down the line. You want to break every little inch of frame down, right? But
Well,
you and I, you and I both know you can't sit here and teach and instruct to one golf swing.
no, no, you can't.
If it's been a bad golf swing.
And again, I don't think we want to go down the whole path of trying to.
Correct.
We're
Critique
not.
it or yeah.
We're not that type of we're the folk that, hey, he may have bailed out. Hey, maybe that was how he wanted to play it. But I will tell you the second shot, he played to the right-hand side of the fairway again. So,
Right.
you can't say that that water did not affect him mentally on 17 is the wet was
Mm,
all I am trying to say.
yeah.
And again, being in the lead, you're trying to protect that lead. And, again, at the end of the day,
Just like you talked about with Alcatraz on 16, you're gonna take it up the right-hand side, and I'm just gonna totally take the left out of play. And if I'm in
absolutely.
the rough, so be it. I'm in the rough. We know he has a speed that rough isn't an issue, so
No, no, he played it fine. But no, Joe, I think your answer in terms of laying up or bunting one
yeah.
into the fairway, I think that's absolutely correct is what you do in terms of things. But myself, I'm not going to be taking that angle or line that's going to be, flirting with the water in any way, shape, or form. I'm certainly not going to put myself in a mental position where I'm going to want to put it a little extra into it, if you know what I'm getting at, because when you
Mhm.
start doing that, having been in that position on 18 on the final hole at nationals, and you're going, the only place I don't want to go is that palm tree, and you end up at that palm tree, and it just anyway. We've all sort of kind of been there, and no, I think that's a safe thing to do. So you did it. So, Joe, this comes to our final question, the final question of the day of our new segment called Send It or Lay Up. Joe, we are going to have a hypothetical. It's a hypothetical. We have been in, let's assume that we have been in California, in the Palm Springs, La Quinta area for 28 days. Day 29, we decided we're going to play our last round of golf. I don't know. Pick a golf course. It doesn't even really matter, Joe, because at the end of the day, you and I have had a wonderful 30 days out in the sun, out playing golf, eating wonderful food, meeting wonderful people, experiencing everything that we can experience, but more importantly, spending time with one another, having that friendship that we have, and being able to banter and joke around with one another, and hopefully we won't hate each other by the end of the trip. But if we do, hey, it's been nice knowing you. But I guess there won't be a
Mhm.
season 2. But anyway, uh, but it's the last round of the trip. We are on hole 18. You've got one more shot left. You are approximately you're going to have to carry water. You're going to have to carry water if you're going to go for that pin. Or you can club down, take a safer angle, and leave yourself a small little chip, pitch, or possibly, depending upon how the green looks, you may be able to hit it in the middle of the green. Last shot of the trip. Are you going for the gusto? Are you going for the memory? Are you gonna go for the score? Because I know scores are not gonna matter, but at the end of the day, you and I both know scores matter. Are you gonna go and on a good day, you could hit that 192 number. You can. On a good day. We have been playing in the desert for 28 days, Joseph. That last shot, 192 out, over water, go. What's your
That's a hard one. There's two ways to take this. The golfer in me and my instinct is to just absolutely send it. I wanna hit that last long iron into the green. I wanna stick it, and I just wanna step up there and have that little tap in for birdie, eagle, whatever it is, and I just wanna hit a golf shot, right? But that other side of me also says, "Oh, man, I could lay up and walk down the fairway and just enjoy that time
Mhm.
and then make that chip and enjoy that walk and then make that putt. There's goods to both of those, but I think I'm gonna send it. I gotta try to hit the I gotta hit the golf shot.
Hey, look, I can't disagree with you in any way, shape, or form. Even I, as the conservative player and the technician, if you will, amongst the both of us, I'm gonna probably the last day, last real true shot of the the trip. I'm probably gonna do it. You know, if I recall, the last time we had taken a trip with John and Tyler, we had, I believe, we all tried to send it that last shot, if I remember. Of course, we were playing at, God, I can't remember. God, it
Tobacco
was
Road.
Tobacco Road, and I remember 18 was, God, Tobacco Road was just miserable, miserable. But
Well,
anyway,
if I remember right, it was February and it was hot.
it was. It was February. It was not the greatest of times, if I remember, but we know, in terms of times with the guys, I was fine with. It was the golf was not good, I can assure
Yes,
you. But, Tobacco Road, it's one of those, if you're not playing good golf, that Tobacco Road is not the place you wanna go and play
gotta hit your
a
spot.
casual
Gotta hit
round
your
of
spot.
golf. But, again, I'm with you. At 192 out, I'm gonna go ahead and take that club out. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna club up more than likely. I'm gonna go ahead and take that one last swing, go for the gusto, hope somebody's got a camera on me to have that moment on camera and experience that because, when it goes in the hole, nobody will believe me, and I'm right there with you. I'm gonna go ahead and go for the gusto myself, so I think you made the right absolute decision with that, so but that is it. I gave you 3 and I gave you a 4th one, which was a hypothetical, so at least you and I both know what's gonna happen when we get to the end of this trip. So that is it. That was that. Joseph, you played well. I'm gonna call you the champion, the current champion of send it or lay up. Congratulations, Joseph.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations. But literally,
Hypothetical for you now. Let me leave you with this one.
okay,
So let's turn this around. Okay.
I got you.
My final, let's call this my final fairway thought here.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going off script here.
I have not a problem with it. I like it. Let's do it.
I don't need an answer to this right now. This got
Okay.
brought up yesterday while we were at the sim and we were having a conversation because there was a gentleman in the last tournament by the name of Mr. Rose who had just a phenomenal tournament
Mhm.
this past week, and he is not a spring chicken.
No.
Uh, and the conversation that we were having was, we always talk about with some of these old time golfers, what if they had the equipment? What if they had this?
Mhm.
What if they had that? But man, with the way that we have shafts now in golf clubs and what we're able to do, could you imagine some of those guys that just need that little extra help getting that launch up late in their career and what they may have been able to do and some of the wins they may have been able to have? It's crazy to think about just that technology piece. Think about that. Would you take a Jack or an Arnie with today's clubs, or would you take a today guy like a Tiger, a Scheffler, or a Rose with today's clubs?
So let me make sure that I'm hearing the question correctly. So
Yes.
we've got the Tiger Woods, the who is the other
Take Scotty out of it, but let's think like Tiger, like guys in their,
okay.
40, that
So
40, 50
so
range, get ready
so
to
you're
go
talking
champions.
so you're talking guys that are currently on tour that are kind of coming to the
Yeah.
twilight, if you will, of being on the tour.
And then you got those guys that were on the end of their career that maybe got booted off the tour early, where maybe they would have had a window of maybe another 5, 10 years of competing with today's clubs versus retiring
Wow.
early.
So again, your question is, would I take a Tiger Woods and or put him up against, say, a Jack or an Arnie, utilizing Jack and Arnie? Are we talking heyday or are we talking relatively at the end of both of them at
Near
the
the
end
end,
of both
yeah,
of them towards the end of their careers?
yeah, like when they're playing a regular schedule, like that semi full schedule, not
Okay.
just showing up for those championship
I got
appearances
you.
at the
Yep,
big
yep, yep,
you
yep,
know,
yep.
right? Like, let's near the end of that career, near the end of
Yep.
that time, like, do you think a guy like that
Wow.
potentially would have been able to compete another 5 or 10 years longer
Wow.
with the
Wow.
equipment that we have now?
Wow.
And what
See,
would that have looked like? Think about that.
wow, wow, that's given me some food for thought. I mean, I can't even Jack
We're gonna do
was
some research for this.
I mean, Jack was late in his career in '86 when he ended up winning the Masters,
Right,
and nobody thought he would ever be able to do that at the age of
absolutely.
45, as I
Well, who thought
recall.
Tiger was gonna win the last one?
Oh, not at all. I didn't think that was gonna happen, and when it did, I mean, you talk about, what a wonderful storyline, and I'm glad it happened
Correct.
for him. I'm
Right.
really glad it happened for him. And then you take an Arnie, Arnie had the mentality of kinda like the guys that are of this modern era. Some of those guys would even say, I don't know, I don't wanna put words in anybody else's mouth, but I'm thinking that the guys that are currently on tour who have had the opportunity to know Arnie, possibly play with him at Bay Hill, you know what I'm getting at.
Mhm.
Some of those guys would even say that Arnie was the beginning of the modern era of golf in terms of how you attack a golf course and play a golf course. I mean, Arnie was the first one who actually utilized a yardage book, for crying out loud. And kept notes, and take a look what these guys are doing today. I mean, we just had the
For
conversation
sure.
not that long ago about the library of information of, this is the club that I used here. This is the shot that was done. I mean, that information's being written down by somebody. If it's not being written down by the caddy, I'm telling you, it's going to be by the swing coach that's walking the fairway along with these guys just inside the ropes. I'm telling you, that's how it works. Wow. Wow. I mean, I can't even
Think
imagine
about it.
Tom. I mean, even Tom Watson
Yeah.
back in the, wow, that's food for thought. That is serious food for thought. No, I'm not going to answer that question right now because I don't think I have the capacity to do that. I mean, you're talking about Arnie and Jack and those guys, and it's not like they went to the gym. It's not like they went to the gym. It's not like they were
Correct.
working out. It's not like they had stretching and all of that.
And
These
obviously the
guys,
question we're comparing apples and oranges here, right? Like, we
I
do know some
realize that, yeah.
more athletically, but just that aspect alone of having the ability to, go into a fitting and say, "Hey, I want this shaft because I needed to kick a little bit higher, but my swing speeds are here, so I needed this stiff." And we have the ability to really custom fit almost to that degree now.
Yeah.
If those guys had that ability then, some of these guys may have had 5, 10, 15 years more in their career potentially.
They potentially may have, and my God, I can't even fathom how Jack or Arnie would have been able to attack some of the golf courses that they're playing. I
Right.
mean, wow. Again, I'm not gonna answer the question because it's too intense to even think about that, but, the comparison between Jack and Tiger has always been made, and, it's always been made specifically when Tiger was trying to chase, I don't wanna say chase down, Tiger's
Right.
playing golf, he's, maybe he is aiming for something, I don't know.
He wanted the number. He wanted the record.
I think he did too, but at the end of the day, the reality is that, these guys are just playing golf at a total different level, and I don't care if they're playing with today's technology or yesteryear's technology. These guys are absolutely incredible at playing the game that they are professionals at.
100%.
And it is, it, I gave you a wooden club, I gave you a wood club, and when you're coaching the kids, I always ask you to take that thing out and have the kids hit it one time just to see if they can,
Yeah.
A, hit it, and B, can they put some distance on it? And you and I have actually taken that club and have tried to do the same thing. And you and I both have agreed that no, the modern club is so much better than yesteryear's club. And it's actually more controllable, number one. And number two, you get so much more distance on it as well. I don't know. That's a tough question, my friend. That is a fairway thought. Definitely a fairway thought. That is one that you can take from the very beginning of the first tee. Talk about that throughout the entire 4.5 hours of a
There
round
you
of
go.
golf, either in between your own ears or with your playing partner. I mean, my God, can you imagine that, Joe? Unbelievable fairway thoughts. So we're taking this journey to the PGA West. We're going to play the stadium course, and to me, this journey is about camaraderie. It's about checking off that bucket list item that I think both of us wanted to do, and that's a take an extended golf trip. One we
Yes.
both of us deserve it. We always wanted to take the butts and the what ifs out of a golf trip, and we're finally going to be able to check that off. Playing the stadium course, you sort of kind of have to. It's kind of a rite of passage, if you will, as a golfer. You want to be able to go and I don't care if you're using today's technology because you still want to take on what was called
You want to hit that shot.
at the time, the toughest golf course in the entire world. I mean, when it opened up, it had a slope of 77 and a half. 77 and a half. And nobody played the golf course and it was rated 77 and a half. Think about that for a second. Nobody played it and it was rated 77 and a half. So, going into it, you got yourself a little bit of a test. But yes, everybody wants to go in. Everybody wants to take on the challenge. They want to take on the challenge, not of just a Pete Dye designed golf course, but one that you can hit the same shot that you saw Lee Trevino in 1986 play. By the way, he
That's it.
utilized a 6-iron, by the way, a 6-iron. You want to be able to hit those shots. I mean, if we're lucky enough to be able to go over to the Palmer course, I don't know how we're going to be able to do it, but if we're lucky enough to be able to do it, I want you to be able to go and play that course. And when we get to 18, if we're lucky enough to do it, there's a plaque in the middle of the fairway where David Duval hit the famous shot that got him the 59 and an eagle on 18 there at the Palmer course. And I just want to be able to go and drop a ball right there at where the plaque is
And try to hit the shot.
and try to hit the shot. I mean, you want to do that at any golf course or facility that you go to. And if you've seen it, you want to do it. And part of the rite of passage for any golfer to play the stadium course. So with that, my friend, I don't know what else we can add to this, except I'm excited. I'm stoked. We have a little bit of history about the area, a little bit of history about the golf course now. How do you feel about this going into this? Do you feel that you have a little bit more knowledge after watching the Amex this past week? Do you have a little bit more knowledge about playability of the golf course? I know you know where not to put it, A, water, and B, into the bunker left of 16. I know that. But how do you feel? Do you feel that you've gained a little bit of knowledge simply by watching the Amex?
At the end of the day, golf is golf, right? It's a number and a shot and hit the number, whatever course you're on. But I mean, to be able to, like we've been talking about, to be able to watch a place and see the pros play it and see how they would handle a certain situation or attack a certain situation or play a certain lie, and then to be able to go out and recreate that. I mean, like we've said, that's really one of those things. If I'm out playing around at a course like that, yes, I want to play my round. Yes, I want to shoot a number. Now, obviously, we're not talking about, holding up pace of play and different things like that by any means. But if you have the opportunity to sneak over and to hit that shot sometimes, obviously, like you said, Alcatraz and the bunker on 16, I want to hit a shot there. How
Yeah.
cool is that to be able to go over and hit that ball just to see if you could do it?
Oh, absolutely.
I was overseas. I want to be in one of those pop bunkers. I want to hit that shot to see if I can get out of that, laid sod pop bunker, just to see if you can,
Yeah.
just to test it out. So 100%. I mean, I'm excited being able to watch it and see the pros do it. It's great. And it just, again, it makes you more excited because you're going to be there. It's gorgeous on TV.
Yeah.
You know how much better it's going to look in person because you can't do these courses justice on TV. You just
No,
can't.
no, not at all. I mean, you
Isn't there? The escalation isn't there. It's just you miss so much detail on TV versus actually being there in person. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think, I've had the opportunity, like I've told you before, I've played the stadium course a couple of different times and I've have that knowledge in my mind here. I also have, my resource of library of yardage books here, which by the way, I do have notes and notations from when I've played there as well. And, having that knowledge, I know what the sight lines look like. I'm going to be interested to see how you take and react to some of those sight lines. And I know that you've played dye design courses in the past, but this one,
Is different.
this is different. I'm telling you, it's a little bit different. I hope between myself, my previous knowledge and watching the Amex this year as a refresher that I don't want to say I'm armed with new knowledge or information or whatnot, because again, I haven't hit a golf ball and it's been a while since I've picked up and actually have played on the regular.
It's only been a couple weeks.
And by the way, I'm talking about playing on the regular, like I'm talking as if I'm playing on the regular. I'm really not. But anyway, no, I think we've gained some knowledge. It's going to be interesting, and it's
Seeing the
most
course is
importantly,
one thing, but
yeah,
having being there playing, seeing the
it's
sidelines,
totally
anytime you've
different.
had it's totally different for sure.
It's definitely different. With that, Joseph, I think we might have covered everything. Let's see here. We got a little bit of history of PGA West. We've got some history of the course. Let's see here. We talked about the tournament. Joseph, I think we hit all the subjects and topics that we wanted to for this particular episode. So, my question to you, what do you have in store here for the next couple of weeks? Are you planning on continuing down, utilizing not just your swing lab, but are you also going to be utilizing the new facility there in your hometown?
If the opportunity presents itself, obviously I'll go down. They're using full swing as well, which was nice to be able to
Oh,
see
fantastic.
see some of the upgraded software, which gave me some ideas for obviously for you as well, something
Yeah.
you're looking at. So that gave me some things there. So I yeah, if the opportunity is there, I would love to go down and do that again. Obviously I'll be in my garage, just staying loose, hitting balls. I need to utilize that some more. I need to get my butt working out. That's going to be my next kick here in the next couple weeks now that we've got the podcast going and trying to get on that weekly schedule with
Mhm.
getting that info out to you fine folks and keeping that going. I need to get my butt going in the weight room and lifting a little bit, just get myself back in shape. So I think that's going to be the next big push here over the next 2 or 3 weeks is get myself back limber and loose and stretching a little bit so that I'm not
Good.
fat and flabby out there in California when we're out there swinging that golf club.
Well, hey, fat and flabby is not going to work when you're trying to have a hot girl summer in June in desert. So, hey, do what you got to do. I'm glad you're doing that. Hey, look, I started working out a little bit. I'm feeling a little bit better than what I had been physically. Feeling a little bit better mentally as well. I do have some good news. I'm going to be hitting some golf balls here next week,
I love
and
it.
I'm going to go ahead and put some video. I'll try to get some video of not just my practice that I'm going to be doing, but maybe also of a little bit of facilities as well. But I'll make sure that you have all of that so you can do with what you need to on the next episode. So, anyway, Joseph, we are at the end of this episode. I think we've gone a little long this episode, but hey, if there's anybody still listening, congratulations on making it through 1 hour and 24 minutes of
Hopefully we
nonsense.
didn't put you to sleep today.
So anyway, with that being said, Joseph, I again, it's good seeing you, my friend. Tell the good people how they can find us and where they can find us.
It's Golf with Wilson and Warrens. We are on all of your podcast hosting networks. You can find us on the socials as well at WNW Golf. And we'll have all that, hopefully, have some good content here flowing soon from all the wonderful swings and things we're finding. And I think we need to start doing some research. I think next week we need to start talking about maybe some, getting a course layout maybe and thinking about maybe some of the places we want to play. And I think we need to talk about food a little bit. I think we need to plan
I
that out.
agree. No, I think we should, again, we want to talk about, everything that goes along with this trip, and food is going to definitely be one of those things. And I do have some insight to a couple of different places. I've done some research and some places I think you and I would actually like to walk into as well. So, yeah, let's go ahead and hit on that. Let's go ahead and do some research on that. We'll share it with everyone. Again, we are set in stone, PGA West, the entire month of June. We will be more than happy to share with you here shortly where we're going to be staying at. And at the end of this, we're going to recap all the costs and all the prices and everything for you so you can see that, hey, look, we're not spending $1 million going out there for a month, even though that is where most of Hollywood does like to go and travel. We're not that type of clientele by any means. So yeah, we're doing this kind of on a friendly budget, a more economical way, and we'll be more than happy to share all the costs with everyone. Joseph, I am done. I'm going to leave you with one piece of advice like I do every week. Keep it in the short grass, my friend. Keep it in the short grass.
Sir, have a
Until
wonderful
then,
week.
absolutely. Until then, hasta mañana. We'll see you soon.